Hello everyone, welcome back to KitbashCarnage. So today we're going to have a look at how to make some molds for this piece of armor here. This piece of armor is going to be used for my Chaos Blood Bowl team that I'm crafting. It's going to go on more miniatures and the ogre especially. So this is Omaru. It's the same stuff as blue stuff, but it's not blue as you can see. You can get this on a lot of websites. It's half the price as blue stuff, but you get twice as much. And if you want the blue, add some blue food coloring and there you go. So how you use Omaru, now how long we'll just get this all together now, close the lid. So how we use Omaru is cut it into small bits and put it into some hot water. Just be careful now, it is hot water, so use gloves or a stick or something. You see I use a stick here in order to just swish it around, and once it starts getting malleable it will start to stick to itself. As you can see here, it starts kind of clumping together, and Omaru or blue stuff is reusable again and again, so it's a bang for your buck really if you ask me. So just keep on moving it around, let it soften up. You might have to leave it to the side for a while to let it soften while you're doing something else. And I just make sure obviously that you keep smushing it together in order to speed up the process here. So once you see it coming together like this and you can fold it over, that's roughly about the time where a minute extra and you're good to go. It's like the golden point. So just clean off your work surface there, because once you stick the Omaru down, you don't want anything to destroy your mold. And make sure to be safe, as I said everyone, this is hot, so be careful while taking this out. So basically I fold it into a circle, and just to make sure that when I flatten it, that the Omaru, there's enough coverage on each side for the bit that I'm trying to cast and make a mold of here. So I just push it down and pinch the sides in order to get as much detail coverage as possible. Just don't force it in too much. As you see here, I fold over the edges because it was a bit too flat for my liking and I didn't want it to come out from the other side. So I fold it over, squeeze it down a bit more, make sure you get all that detail in, but not squeezing it down as much as to not get the piece back out, if that makes sense. You just want the imprint of whatever piece you're trying to cast here. So this is milliput. A lot of people know milliput. It's a molded material, and here we have some green stuff. So green stuff and milliput is two compounds that you mix together, and when they're mixed individually on their own, the milliput creates a mold that is more brittle, and the green stuff creates a more malleable mold. So sometimes I like to mix the two of these to get a certain consistency when molding specific parts and stuff. I tend to use more green stuff while making scrolls or anything that has to be shaped to the mini or bent. So as you would see in future videos in the playlist, link in the description if I've figured out how to do that yet, I'll show you the consistency of what I like my green stuff to be. So I just tend to mix it up like this, back and forth, and you will see the consistency that comes out. That is my preferred consistency. As you can see, we just do a back and forth motion here, just folding it in on itself as if you were folding some flour together to make some dough, basically, you know, just kneading it in and out, and it will, the green and blue will gradually turn into green stuff. So we'll get our piece out here of our mold. I'm just noticing it's still too soft, but for purposes that we need, we should leave it just to harden a small bit. I'll come back in a minute as soon as it's hardened. Right guys, so that's us back. We have given it a little bit of time to harden, and we shall see how we're getting on. So let's have a look here. By the way, that's not hot water I stuck the mold back into. I ran outside, well not ran outside, I ran to another room, emptied the hot water and put some cold water in it in order to speed up the hardening process of the mold itself. And as you can see, this is what we came out with. So a little bit of overhang with the Omaru, still a small bit soft, but for now, for demonstration purposes, it will do. So you can see me add a little bit of water into the mold there. Sometimes sticking some water in, or Vaseline maybe, is a good way to prevent it from sticking when it's still a little bit like soft like this. I also tend to stick some water on my hand or finger or on a tool in order to help spread it in more. See, I use this tool here, silicone tip, in order for it not to stick, and I just push it down nice and hard in order to get it into all the crevices of the mold. So we're just making sure that we've got it in every single crevice, just so it gains all the detail we've worked on making, and that seems like it's good. If you think it might need an extra push down, don't forget, you can also use your fingers. It's not this side that's going to be seen, it's going to be the other side, so having your thumbprints and whatnot is not going to make too big of a difference. Just here, I'm just using my fingers to make sure that the green stuff is still malleable, and before we waste it, we're taking out some previous molds that I've done. So here you see some emblems, I've got some scrolls, that was a skull head on a chain. Anything that I really think that I might want to use in future, I usually cast it up before I use it, because who knows when you're gonna come into that same piece again, and the last thing I want to do is go onto eBay and be in a bidding war for one specific piece that I used on a project yesterday. So I tend to mold and cast stuff that I might want to use in the future. So this is a Chaos Gods book, I think. It's like a book of the damned, or whatever you may call it. It's basically the book of the gods, I'm guessing. Apologies about the lore fact, guys. I don't really know, so don't shout down the screen and correct me. You probably are telling me exactly what it is right now. Leave it in the comments, actually. I would be interested if it's a specific book, but as you can see, I just make two small balls here. Try to push it into the mold. Sometimes, as I said previous, if you wet your fingers, it won't stick to them as much. I don't know why I didn't do it. As I stated before, I rush into these things a lot of the time. I just have an idea, sit down and get cracking before I actually think out what I'm going to do. So we just get that in. There's the water, a bit late than ever. We'll just get this into this part of the mold, and then we have a second half of the same mold that we should find, and then we'll stick the two of them together, or we won't. We'll just keep it as one. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the line in the middle where the blue and the yellow attach tends to harden, so I like to cut that off and make it into a little ball for future kit bashes and stuff. Just a little bag full of bits that I don't want to throw away. So like, subscribe and comment, and stay tuned for more.